Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. Sometimes you see a move, sometimes you don't. Now Luke Allport decides to go. We've had the sprint. Do you know what? I'm going to keep on going. So he's now attacked through from the sprint, and now he's putting the pressure on.
It's a sneaky move.
It's not sneaky, it's smart. Interesting tactics here by the Brazilian. Jumping in with the Norwegian rider Mare, the group behind. Well, they are going to be taking it a little bit steadier, but this is going to give Popovic and Mare a run-in and a bit of a gap.
20 riders in the Category 3 group going over the top of that climb together. It's a huge group. X100 on the back of the group, just getting distanced here. They've gone up and over the Eichenberg Hill. They're moving on to the Eichenberg climb. X100 pushing at the power he knows he's comfortable with. 11 riders in the leading group in Category 4 with 4.8 kilometres to go. At 31.4 kilometres into the race, we've still got a big group of Category 1, a large group of Category 2, 20 at the last count, and they are motoring. 20 riders in Category 3 as well.
He's kicked first at 8 watts per kilo. He's starting to drop, but he kicks again. Up to 8.5. Pino is coming behind. Arrego's coming at 11 watts per kilo. Has he left it too late? I think he has. Andrew Neville Ross takes it. So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Whereverabouts in this big wide world you are, it's great to be here for our April finals. My name is Matt Payne. I'm going to be taking you through all of the race action, and it is going to be down to the one and only Emma Martin to try and make some sense of what I'm saying as well as the action as well. Emma, we've just seen an amazing barnstorming, I think was the word, women's race. We were in Belgium for the first time for their finals, but we're not in Belgium for the men's finals.
No, we're not. And if you viewers have missed the women's final, you need to head over and watch it. But wait until we have finished in Alula, because we are heading to the new heritage course in Alula for the men's final today. And there it is in front of you, 45 kilometres, 708 metres of climbing. And it is the back half of the course that is going to create the challenges today. So the first 16.3 kilometres, they're not flat, they're quite bumpy, but 3 sprints along the way. Then we hit the heritage climb. It's 5.8 kilometres with an average gradient of 5.7%, but you can see the steps, the bumps, the lumps, the challenge, and that downhill is as challenging and as technical as the uphill on the run to the Canyon Oasis climb. Then the cliff sprint, then we drop down to the final climb before that run in to finish today. And it's a flat run to the finish, but it is not flat until you get there. So looking today, I think, for the April final, it's going to be a cracker.
It is indeed. Now, as you can see along the way, those 5 sprints will be giving us a snapshot on the ride, but being the finals, the big prizes come from our team competition as well as our individual competition. Our 4 race categories, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in yellow, green, blue, and red, respectively. We're going to kick off action with our category 4 riders who are down there in the red, in the start pens. As we go in, we've got some big teams now. We're going to try and fly through these. Choa, Marin, Licano, Montoya, Gonzalez in for the Agridarian team. DS team, Tobin, Milano, Driscoll, Level Avengers, Lodano, Pino, Gomez, Cadabona. For Level Up Racing, we've got Kakahal, we've got Allport, Pino, and Warren. The Mighty Ducks, represented by Winfield, Casagrande, Tortoretto, Kutap, and Canol. The Anzacs with Neville Ross, McMurtry, Dadson, and Newman. The Power, well, they've got Rooney, Kalangad, and Arrego. The Powerless, Dromard, Rusinek, as well as Santa Maria and Holtz. We've got upcycled with Hottinen, Zanaska, Schoberg, Lloyd, and Maillard. And Marcus Brito, as normal, leading out the WTBR MyWhoosh Brazil squad. Now, we'll bring you the runners and riders, those who are going to be the favourites in there once we're up and running. But this is the April finals for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and we are go The Category 4 riders now accelerating out of the pen. It's here in Alula. Amazing world to go explore. A tough world to go race on. And it doesn't get much tougher than the Heritage course. 45 kilometres, 707 metres. And Luke Allport is doing an Allport.
Well, Allport is on the front, leading them out for the April final. Allport, Connell, Warren, all in the mix there. Dromard now coming up into Allport, wanting this to be a nice, fast start today. Now, the key story for me in Level 4's race today, Matt, is that 4 riders have progressed up to Category 3 this month, leaving Category 4 wide open. And Allport stopped in there, or took the step in there last week, because he finished 3rd in the race last week. Neville Ross taking a 1st and a 4th this month. Mark Dadson having 2 5ths. Arago having a 2nd, and Montoya having a 4th. Valencia taking a 4th place as well. Now, with those 4 riders going up, for me, this really does leave the individual and the team competition wide open. The Agrodirian team, I think, are in with a shot, so a level up racing. The Mighty Ducks could sneak in there. The Anzacs, if you look on paper, do look very, very strong, but so do the Power. Upcycles have often been in the mix as well. So, it was the Anzacs from the Mighty Ducks last month. Is it going to be the same this month? Well, I reckon you've got about 1 hour, 20 minutes to find out.
Well, we'll see if Emma's prediction for the timing is as good as her stats. We will have a little while to wait to check that out. Don't forget, of course, because this is a team competition, it's important our teams finish their 3 fastest riders as fast as they can, even if that means sacrificing maybe riders 4 and 5 in their team. 5 is the maximum number of riders you can have. 3 riders' times to be added together to count for the overall positions, and those are key. 9 teams in the men's category 4. That means, by my bad maths, there's going to be 4 disappointed teams and 5 teams in the prizes.
Well, there are indeed. And Allport is Allporting off the front still of this race, 1.5 kilometres in, with a 4-second gap at the moment to the chase group behind. But they are not responding to him. They don't seem to want to be closing that gap down as we drop in with Luke Allport on the left-hand bottom corner of the screen. Yep, he's with us today and he's got us in his ears as Allport doing what Allport does. 5 seconds now, the gap to that chase group, and he just wants to keep it going.
I got to say a massive thank you to Luke Allport and all the squads who've been putting together the general classification for the month. So we have been having the links that are there. They're on our social media. You can get that. The links are in the bio in the social media for @biking_Emma and @biking_Emma and Matt Fixer Paint. Let's remember the links then. You can get on there and get that GC. And our riders have to ride every stage. Basically all the 3 qualifiers and the finals to then be in with the chance of the overall. But it does show you where they are as well if they haven't been in there. But this is a totally unofficial competition.
It is, and it's a little bit different to the standard Sunday Race Cup competition where you need the 2 qualifiers to qualify for the final. It is a combined for all of the rides and races this month. Well, we are also dropping in with other riders as well. Rusanek is the rider in the mix at the moment. He's pushing on those pedals, currently in 3rd spot, so leading this chase group at the moment. But Allport, he's got 11 seconds.
11 seconds already to Luke Allport. It's a long way to the first climb, 16.3k. We'll have to catch up with Luke, see how he's getting on when we come back in with Category 4. But before that, let's dive in with Category 3. Now, we have the Autorea Reliance in here. We've got Draft, Gold Grabbers, Italian Espresso, and Last Bresso for the Alliance. Good old East Staples, Squirrelari and Connor. Draft, Cadiz, Sketting, Acker, and Gates. Gold Grabbers, Didoch, Sanchez, and Sarah and Giuliano. Espresso, we've got Kiligio, Montello, Manella, and Iniglia, as well as Cusimano. The Last Breath Racing are going to be up against Level Racing. Last Breath with Arroyo, with Elos, with Caro, and Arago. Level Racing is Cirillo, Rimbaud, Twiki, Besedi, and Perez. We are going to have Level Racing. We've got Kirk, we've got Royas, we've got Roy, Kalman, and Tuomi. Silver Snatches, Bogan, Pulgarin, Mountier, Avedo, and Golsolin.
I am so surprised you actually got through that before our Category 3 riders start. But they're down in the pens and the green ears go. Category 3 are away on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club April final. And the race field is huge. 43 riders on the start sheets as they swing out onto the course. And the pace is high at the front already, creating a stretch on the group. Now, the key story for me in Category 3, yes, there are 9 teams on the start sheets today, but this is going to be a seriously tight competition. There are riders, I think, in 7 of those 9 teams who have finished on the podium this month. The strength and depth in Category 3 in the men's. Now, we talk about it all of the time, but the strength and depth for me really is there, with 12 riders taking top spots. Remember, there were 15 spots on those podiums this month in those 3 qualifiers. 12 different men taking positions on those steps really shows you what could or might happen today. But assumptions are going to go out the window, because who is on form today is going to be who is up there later.
And key to that is being in the mix, as Emma's just said, because you need to be in it to win it. And they are big, big prizes. We'll bring you the details of those in a little bit. But before we do that, just a quick reminder. At the moment, we are live out on Twitch TV. It is MyWhoosh live on Twitch TV, where you can grab us on YouTube. You can have a look back through all of the old shows as well. You can catch up with all of the action and where we are, how we've got here, what have riders like Camilla done in the past races. Well, you can catch up with that. Great to get the insights. One of the big developments in the coverage, where we're looking in at our riders when they're riding. It's not just part of that verification process to make sure that we are keeping an eye on the right riders, but it's also a great way for us to get an insight on what they're doing and how they ride.
Well, the insight at the moment, Matt, is the Category 3 pack have had a much steadier start than Category 4. You know, this is a really comfy pace, a tight bunch spread right across the road. Rojas's heart rate is currently set at 142, 143, telling me that this is a comfy pace. It's a steady start for Category 3. Well, it wasn't a steady start for Category 4, because Allport went off really hard straight away out the pen and down the road. And I think from the look of that, he's still hung out at the front of this race field.
Well, it's kind of predictable. It has to be said. It's a bit like me having ice cream after we've done commentary for a gig or coffee. You can guarantee some things will happen. The sun comes up in the morning. Matt's going to have a coffee. Luke Allport's going to go off the front. Emma's going to wonder at why he does it. Put the stats together for the numbers of seconds away. You can guarantee, and I'll tell you something, it really does make it hard for everybody else, because one of these days they're going to let him go and he isn't going to come back.
Well, I agree with that, but Level Up Racing, well, it's Carcal, Allport, Pinot and Warren. You know, they are in with a chance here, Matt, and I think they want to make it hard for everybody, because the Anzacs are strong, the power are strong. You know, upcycles are always there or thereabouts. So, you know, from a team perspective, you can imagine them talking about the tactics over the last week coming into this race.
And that's one of the key things, isn't it? Whether you're in category 4, 3, 2, or 1, team tactics actually are as important, pretty much, when you're talking about that team competition and how the race plays out, as your ability to ride, because it's such a key part of the game.
One of the category 2 teams in the men's race once sent me a photo of the team tactics before a final, and I have to say it was about 3 sides of A4 lined note paper with every single line written on it. So there are indeed the team, you know, don't imagine the teams don't talk, because the teams do talk, the teams do plan, and they do target, and they do try to execute those plans. Obviously, you need to be mindful of what happens along the way, but a lot of work and a lot of effort goes into the thinking and the strategy behind this, not just the pedaling. Well, pedaling at the moment is Adriano Zanasca, one of our regular Sunday riders. He's had a lifetime of strong performances on the bike and is keeping that going on the Sunday Race Club.
Yeah, great to see Adriano Zanasca, a multi-time champion, a rider who really ought to have the tactics dialed. He should have them dialed into his pretty much in his DNA these days. The amount of racing Adriano's done, and he's sat in here nicely tucked in the pack, and a great example of how everybody can jump on board and ride. Now, please do join us. The big news out this week is that MyWhoosh Go has been launched. MyWhoosh Go is the version that will work on pretty much any computer this decade coming out. Have a look at the specs. It is basically, imagine a stripped down, lightweight, super fast version that will work with anything. That's what it will do. So basically, if you've got an older computer like we use for our second turbo trainer setup in the Full Speed Event studios here in the UK, then that older computer now will run MyWhoosh. None of this having to bring in one of the more advanced later gaming laptops. None of that. Just used fire up the coal in the old firebox, turn the steam on.
The engine.
Quite literally, it feels
PC.
like that. No, when you turn it on, you might need to do this 10 minutes before you start because it takes that long to boot
and
up.
Don't shut the door to the studio too hard or it'll turn itself off.
Yeah, don't do that either. But apart from that, I tell you what does work on it. If nothing else, it is MyWhoosh Go, and it is great. I know, Emma, you were on that second turbo during the week on MyWhoosh Go,
and
we were also at the same time using the MyWhoosh standard platform. And there's not a huge amount of difference. There are differences in there, but if you want to come and race, if you haven't before decided to put that on, please do jump on board and come and have a ride with us, whether you're riding in here with Thierry Bassetti or you're going to be out and riding on one of the many races.
And to do that, you need to head over to mywhoosh.com. You need to download the app if you haven't already. There is also an app for your phone now as well.
MyWhoosh link.
Yep, you can do indeed, which is absolutely brilliant. But you can head over there. You can download anything you need, all the information you need. You can take one of the training plans. You can read the background to those and see what's available. You can look at the wide range of events. And of course, if you want to join us on the Sunday Race Club, head over to the events page, click on the Sunday Race Club and get verified, get your passport done, get onto the start line. Come and join us on the Sunday Race Club because I am really interested to see whether it's the men's race field or the women's race field that goes over 200 first.
Ooh, that's a good question. Have we not had a men's race field over 200?
Nope.
Okay. Yes, boss. Well, let's see what we can do. Right, here we go. This is your mission, should you choose to accept it. Grab a friend. Get them to download on iOS, Android, or on Windows the game. Jump on board and get them on board. Let's get those numbers up over 200 riders.
Or a next-door neighbour if you haven't got a friend.
Nico Cansara would be a good example of that.
He is indeed. In fact, he's in the mix here. So Cansara is indeed the next-door neighbour to
Phil Graves, if I remember right.
It is indeed.
There you go. So, yeah, bring them. If they don't want to ride, then the other thing you need to do is get them to subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch videos, because we would love to share how much we enjoyed the racing and hopefully how much you enjoyed the racing with everybody. So please do share it, send it out on social media, put it in, tag it, send it out. You know what to do. I'm not the man to ask. Social media and me, yeah, not happening.
Well, Oviedo at the moment pushing on here in this chasing group because the action has started in Category 3. They're 5.4 kilometres into this race. They start 10 minutes before Category 2. And Oviedo pushing on, riding on his balcony there in the sunshine. He's got Cansara, Squillari, Staples, Rinborg, Kalman, Elos, all for company at the moment. This group was once stretched across the road. Now it's stretched down the road as this pack of blue jersey wearing Category 3 riders push on in this race.
So they're at 6 kilometres covered nearly. We're heading towards the 10k mark for Category 4. 5 minutes between Category 4 and 3. 10 minutes between Category 3 and 2. Let's jump in with Category 2. I'm going to let you work out which of the teams I might be subconsciously rooting for today. So, from the top, the Coffee Axis CT team, Hernandez, Lago, Quintero, Mesa, Munoz, Geraldo in there. The Hexagon team represented by Ken, Gallo and Trojanoski. We have got the Road Warriors, Oya, Biahe, Milostic, Von Haren, and Another Milostic in there as well. We've got the T1G team, Ilpino, Nuki, and Garito Hoyos. We've got the Hitmen, Krasnick, Spratt, Simmons, and Graves in there. The Watt Colonels, Bendetti, Quadrali, Carradine. We've got Walter, Alen Jung. We've got Wattage, Warlocks, Bitco, Mayhem, and Dakowitz Van He, as well as El Alami. The Wattage Wizards, so many Watts, it's untrue. It is Bengtson, Gomber, Betty, Dot, and Coyston. And the What's Up team are going to need to hit the road rolling from Montoya, Sieur, Kochekov, and Clays. Will they take it out? It's time to find out. Category 2 are underway.
46 riders on the start sheet in Category 2 today. We've got Burke and Khan, Kayan brothers. We've got Lyndon and Peter Millerstick, father and son. Will it be a family who picks up the spoils today, or will it be one of our other riders? Well, it was the Wattage Wizards from the Hexagon team by 43 seconds in the March final. I think the competition is going to be even hotter today because the Coffee Axis CT squad, Quintero's picked up a third. In Hexagon, Cairns picked up a fifth. In the Road Warriors, BR Heads had a fifth. Lyndon Millerstix had a first. Peter Millerstick has had 2 fourths. Krasnich in the Hitmans had a third. Spratz had a second, and Graves had a first and a second. So they pretty much got to be up for it against the Road Warriors today. The Watt Colonels, Alan Jung has had a fourth. Then in the Wattage Wizards, Bengston's had a fifth. Betty's had a second. Don's had a first, and Quinton's had a third. So my money is it's the Wattage Wizards versus the Hitmen versus the Road Warriors today.
And last week, I mean, Ruben Don was absolutely fine. It was great to see him on form. I'm not sure, though, whether this course will suit him as well. Remember, of course, Belgium was so stunned. Now, we go to our Wattage Wizards. We've got Gombe, we've got Betty, as well as Bengston. There are 3 riders on screen at the moment. And you can see at the moment that they're all working pretty hard. Bengston out of the saddle here, just kicking that round, just stretching those legs out at the moment. But this group are moving quickly. It's strung out. It's 45 kilometers now just to hold position in this group at the moment. You go less than that, you're going to start drifting back through if you're not careful as we approach the Elephant Rock. This is for real. If you go get onto one of the search engines and have a look for a picture of the Elephant Rock, and then imagine it compared to this. They are identical. This is one of Emma's favourite places in Alula. One day, Emma, you may even go there.
I'm going to stroke that trunk if I get there, because that Elephant Rock just looks like it needs a cuddle. Well, they're not cuddling it. They're riding underneath it whilst Matt falls over laughing at me in the studio. But this Category 2 race, it's been like a bit of plasticine, Matt. It started as a tight ball in that start pen, and it stretched and it stretched and it stretched until we started to see gaps, and now it's come back together again. This pack are rolling and rolling strongly at 40 kilometers an hour. Mendakowitz, Messer, Yuki, Milostic, Mayer, Messer are all in here. Pino is in the mix as well. A tight group of green jersey riders. They're 2 minutes 50 seconds into this race. Well, I can tell you something. They are not all going to be together at the end.
Absolutely not. I 100% agree with you. There is no way this group is going to stay this size. Once we get over the top of the first climb, I would absolutely want to guarantee that one. But they are underway. They're moving fast at the moment. The damage is hopefully minimal in the legs, but we will see.
I'm concerned that nobody else may want to give a rock a cuddle.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Cuddling rocks I associate with crashing the bike, so let's not go into that one, because I'm very good at that, where, no matter what. Now, we are well on our way in Category 2. They're approaching the 2.5 kilometre marker in front of them. Category 3 and 4 are well down the road. Our riders from all over the globe racing here in the finals of the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. But they all know that the riders still to start in the Category 1 are the fastest riders out there. They're the ones who should set the fastest time. They are the ones with the biggest prize fund. Let's take you through the riders in the teams. Okay, Belgian Waffle Squad represented by Van der Niekow, by Kroll, Panizza and Van Els. The Coalition Alpha Jaw Squad, full squad of 5. Jacobs, Talbot, Vujasin, Kaminsky and Jones. The Pain Toasted Squad for those theme, Bjorklund, Plantro and Ritter. We've got the Peloton riders. 3 riders in there, minimum number that you can have to make it count. Carvajal, Hawila, and Nitko. Sweet potatoes with a full representation of 5. Osborne, Noren, Safrazadi, as well as Meh and Nair. And the UAE clan team, Michael Knudsen, Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, and SS.
Well, the first thing we need to do is say congratulations to Zach Nair, who took the win last week, his first win on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club after 3 years of being in the mix. Can he do the double?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, the challenge is down for Zach Nair, but the rest of the riders in Category 1 are green for go. They are away on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Cup. This is the April final. We're in with Christoph Thiem at the moment as the riders sweep out of the start pen, fast and furious out of the pen and up to pace very, very quickly, just shy of 50 kilometres an hour. Now, 26 riders, 6 teams. And for me, Coalition Alphajaw, they have been absolutely dominant. New rider this month, Arnie Jacobs joins Coalition Alphajaw for the first time. Turek not here after taking a win this month. So Jacobs, Talbot, Vujasin's had a first, second and fourth. Kaminsky's had a second, third and fifth. And Jones a second, third and fifth as well. Now, the sweet potatoes for me are the ones who potentially are going to run them to the line because Johan Noren's had a fourth, Safrazadi's had a third, fourth and fifth, and Zach Nair took the win last week, meaning he really is on form. But it's Holweiler and Bjorkland who are running it strong out of the pen at the moment. Mayer and Vujasin, Knudsen is there. They are chasing strongly at the moment.
They are. This is a big, big kick by Che Ho. We've seen him riding aggressively, and the Peloton rider really wanted to take it to them. Jakob Bjorklund has responded to that. He came up onto the wheels, and you can see another rider really happy to be in that mix, and this being aggressive early. The Peloton riders and the Pain Toasted squad, I think, know that they need to take the racing on early, and they need to make the big name teams, the big favourite teams, make them work hard, make them work hard early, because by doing that, they can degrade the performance that comes out of those teams of riders when they come into those key moments. Can they make it stick? That is a good question. Say Savazzetti, you can just see already it is absolutely flying out here. He's right in the mix in his familiar pain cave. We see him regularly on the Sunday Race Club. He's one of our almost ever-present riders, despite an extensive Palmares racing outdoors, as you can see by the trophy cabinet behind him. I'm sure that'll be inspiring him onwards. I want to just go quickly back, Emma, to a point you made earlier as we see Panizza come chasing down here. Zach Nair has raced here for 3 years on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. He's raced here a lot longer than lots of other riders. He's taken the win, and it was almost a shock, really, to I think a lot of people that he hadn't taken a win in that time before, given how good he is, how analytical he is in terms of his numbers and data. But it is an incredibly strong thing. But I had the pleasure of putting words to the action last night or yesterday, as it was, to the BMX Racing World Cup with someone who works with us here called Rich Eames. He's the BMX commentator, and he uses the phrase, he's uncorked the confidence bottle and now it's going to come flowing out. That's a Rich Eames BMX commentator phrase.
Uncorked the confidence bottle. I like that, but also what I think is worth mentioning is that our riders are from all around the globe, and obviously depending upon where they are located depends upon the time at which they race. For Zach Nair, it's a 3 a.m. alarm clock and a 4 a.m. race.
Ouch.
You know, so we do need to bear that in mind. And obviously your body works physiologically differently at different times of the day. In fact, that 3 till 4 a.m. is supposed to be the dead zone, so to speak, in terms of the time when your body is basically it's got the least amount of energy of the entire 24 hours. So actually to be getting up and racing at that time in the morning, the body really needs to be trained to do that. And he's been doing that and obviously been doing it well and has been putting that, I was going to say pressure on himself, but I don't know whether he has been putting on his pressure on himself to win. But he has indeed taken the win. And then can I just say, not being, having favourites or anything, but I was cheering very loudly in the studio last week whilst you were calling him across the line.
Indeed, there is. If there is a camera, well, there are cameras on us all the time. If they were going out,
they only go to the production team.
Thank goodness. You would have seen Emma dancing around the studio more than I do when Satna came in. And so it's great to see those rewards coming. Maybe it will unlock take the top off the bottle, and he will be now unstoppable. We will find out. At the moment, though, the racing is brutal. You can see, whilst we've been talking, it has been a continuous flurry of people trying to get across to our two early attackers. This means that riders are racing hard and they're riding hard. We're not even at 4 kilometres. We are seeing frantic racing.
I don't know about the confidence being out the bottle. I think the genie's out the bottle at the moment, because the push that started with Holweiler's attack has meant that this Category 1 race has been fast and furious for this first 4 kilometres, and it's still going. It was one long stretch that's now starting to regroup. X100 at the back of the group. Bjorklund, Van den Eekhout, Kaminski, Jakobsteen. All the riders are in here, but they are working hard on this first section of this race course to ensure they stay with the group with the constant attacks that have gone off the front.
It's just lined out so much, isn't it? I mean, it's constant attack, it's constant push. There's been virtually no regrouping. It comes together. It's not for long, and then somebody is taking up the pace. Yes, we've got big prizes. Yes, it is the finals, but we know that the best riders in the world are in here. They're riding on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and it's incredible to see just how hard they're going. Now we're going into the Artist Alley Sprint. This is the first sprint of the day. There are 4 sprints spread across the course. The sprints, although they don't count for prizes like they did in the MyWhoosh Championship, if you want to see how that affects racing, do give that a watch. They are, though, there for a number of reasons. 1 is for bragging rights. 2 is the opportunity to attack and go through them at pace. 3 is so that you can take away a very nice green skin suit as the fastest rider in the sprints, or the fastest rider on the climbs if you want the polka dot one, and also for bragging rights. And if I was Ben Kirk, I'd be bragging right now.
Well, Kirk from Level Racing Revolution putting in a phenomenal sprint through there, definitely wanting to get that green skin suit. Dave Carrillo in too, also in Category 3, part and parcel of Level Racing, the second squad there. Jakobs for Coalition Alpha Joel with X100 from the UAE clan team in 3 and 4. Valencia, the first rider from Category 4 for Level Up Racing, putting in a strong performance there as well. Popovic, Noren, Knudsen, Theme and Kroll, Category 1 riders rounding out the top 10. Some great pushes through that, waking those legs up and getting them ready. I was going to say getting them ready to race, but they've been racing for 5 kilometres already.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think anybody on the race club today is thinking, oh, it's only just started, because it has been hard. I've been watching this. I mean, Arnie Jakobs, he's picked a great race, I think, or maybe not, to go and join the Coalition Alpha Joe squad of Tobert, Vujasin, Kaminski and Jones. He's been really, really, really improving, and it's been really good to see him riding. That confidence is there for him.
Well, and also that added motivation of joining that squad and being part and parcel of that team has got to give somebody wings today.
Well, that is indeed true. Maybe it is going to be his day, the rider from the Netherlands up there. We'll see if he's got a sprint reminiscent of the start gate from Nick Kim and the BMX rider, or whether or not he's more of a diesel as he goes in to the climbs. But they've got to get onto the climb. Look at this. Already, this race field, they're in bits.
Well, 17.8 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race for our Category 4 riders who started first today. They are just over 1.5 kilometres into the first climb. And on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, the graphic gives you a really good indication of what has happened to the race field. Now, we've got one long line of riders at the front of this Category 4 race, and we've got a large number of riders scattered like marbles back down the mountainside. But this group right at the front, Pinot, Connell, Tortoretto, Allport, Dadson, Valencia, Holtz, Winfield, all in the mix here. This is a good group.
It's about 18 riders, I make it at a rough count, going in and on to that climb. In the front of that group, there's still plenty of riders to shed. That's in a category 4. In category 2, this is a massive move. We've got Carsten Mayer, Nicholas Spratt, and Maciej Medekowicz going clear at the front. And they haven't just gone clear, they've entered another time zone because they are 40 seconds. I'm going to repeat that 40 plus seconds in front of the chasing group, and the chasing group are chasing. Don at the moment is at 6 watts a kilo, leading that group in pursuit. That's a huge, huge gap that has opened up.
Well, I said it was going to be the Hitmen versus the Wattage Wizards. I should have eaten my words because it's the Wattage Warlocks, Mayer and Mendakowicz who are leading this charge. Spratt from the Hitmen has gone with them. And the Wattage Wizards, well, they have got something to do to bring this back in, and they are working really hard to do so. But wow, what can I say? They've got nearly 30 seconds at the moment, the leaders there, whilst this group are frantically chasing behind.
Frantic and Ruben Dont's face are not two phrases I would put together. That looks to me like a man who's quite happy here. He's seen them go down the road. He knows he's with a strong group here. You've got Trajanowski in here. You've got Messer in here. You've got Krasnich in here. Bitko. They're a nice, strong squad at the moment. Look at this. It's going uphill. It's 5% gradient. He's out the saddle, tapping away. I think maybe when it comes to confidence and unlocking, this man has well and truly got the key to that, and he's using it to full effect. Okay, category 2. The cat amongst the pigeons. We're into category 3. Not only are they on the climb, they're flying.
They are on the climb, and they are moving and moving strongly and still moving as one big group. So just taking a look, they're 700 meters into this climb, and it is 10% at the moment on this corner here. So it is kicking very, very steeply, but they are still a large group of riders. There's a bit of a push and a bit of a stretch going on the front at the moment. David Young is there. Eric Rinborg is there. Paul Garin is there. Camilo Sanchez is there. So some strong riders in the mix here. As they sweep round the corner, the gaps are about to start forming.
They are. If you looked at it coming in, it was Grupo Compacto, a very well squeezed, compact, and generally condensed group together. We're still only losing one or two riders. Bulgarian, the rider we're in with at the moment, both on the Avatar and him in his pain cave here. If you compare that to the red dots on the bottom left-hand side of the main screen there, you can see that there is a massive difference. These groups are motoring through. The dots are all over the place. But with the profile here, with the shape of this course, the start of the climb is very difficult to get the rhythm right because it climbs, it descends, it climbs, it descends, all the while whilst gaining height to go into the second part, which is just steep and unrelenting.
Yeah, and one of the things about that profile, Matt, is that we see a push going on from the stronger riders at the front, and then we see it concertina back together again as we hit a less steep section or even a downhill or flat section. It does bring the group back. So we do see it stretch, we do see it come back, we do see it stretch again. The question is, at what point will it break? Now, these category 3 riders can see on the screens the category 4 riders scattered ahead of them up the mountain, and they're going to start making that catch. But this is still a big group.
It's a big group, but I would be looking at that. If I was in this group now, I'm going to be looking up the road. I'm going to be thinking, right, there is a big trail of breadcrumbs in front. There is rider after rider after rider. That target, that motivation of catching rider after rider is going to be key. Can Henry East make the most of this? I'm hoping he's going to be able to use some of those muscle groups with his change of profession from bike mechanic to wood framer. He's going to need to be able to make sure he gets the maximum out of that body now. And what I would want to do, I want to be either in the lead group or off the front, because every time you're on the front of this group catching a rider, suddenly you've got that big advantage. You're in the draft, you're getting that motivation, you're seeing the next rider in front. If there's no one in front, it's very difficult to keep that constant attacking going. That's there for the riders in category 3. Well, the riders who normally have everybody to catch, it's category 1. This is the leading group. They're on their way in and through our next sprint section. This is the Al Diwa sprint. And at the moment, they are well through the 300 meters. You can see the finishing green banner coming up. Mr. X100 kicking on again. He was active in the first of our sprint areas at Artist Alley. He's gone through and he's continuing to push here. 5.5 5.9, 5.6 at the moment. He's
Yeah.
continued that kick. He's looking to see if he can provoke some more action out of that group and keep the racing hard.
Well, I'm wondering whether we're going to see the return of the UAE clan team this month, with Knudsen and X100 finishing third and fourth in that sprint. Ben Kirk, that Category 3 rider, putting in a strong performance, 22.363 seconds to take the fastest time through the sprint. Ruben Dont from Cat 2, 1.5 seconds back. Nearly 3 seconds back is where Knudsen and X100 from the UAE clan team sit. Kaminsky in 5. Warren is the first Category 4 rider with Holtz, then Gake's Cat 3, then Nakuto from Category 1, and Bjorkland rounding out the top 10.
A really packed race field. Will Ben Kirk be able to repeat it? It's almost like he's teleporting from one end to the other of those sprints. Faster than the Starship Enterprise at warp speed. We'll see whether he can keep that going though once we've gone up and over the top of the Heritage Climb and the Canyon Oasis Climb as they make the way in and through. So our riders are out and racing. They are racing for some big prizes here today across all 4 of our race categories. Let's have a look and see what they're up for. So here we go into our prize money. The team's classification kicking in. It is 10,800 AED for a team win here. Your fastest 3 riders coming through will take that away in Category 4. You add that to the individual classification that takes place as well. That means that we have the potential for what could be 30 different riders taking away prizes here, dependent on how those riders divide up that team prize. When they move up to Category 3, well, the prizes move up as well. 18,000 AED for the win in the team competition, 3,600 AED for a win in the individual competition as well. And as we move through our categories from 4 to 3, 3 to 2, and so on, the prizes increase, as you can see, because we go up to a huge 30,000 AED for the win in Category 2 in that team competition. 6,000 AED for the individual win. Top 5 riders and top 5 teams taking away prizes once those results are verified. And if you think the prizes so far are big, they are. But they're even bigger in Category 1. 50,000 AED. 50,000 AED for the team win. 10,000 AED for the individual rider taking the win in Category 1. Massive prizes, making sure our riders can really devote the time to racing and have the best kit. Now, if they were going to spend their money, maybe not in AED, because maybe they want to buy some bling for their pain cave somewhere else. Emma, are we going to see a return of Emma's Exchange?
We are indeed. And today, Emma's Exchange, I'm going to Australia in celebration of Ben Kirk and his performance so far in the sprints for the Level Racing Revolution team, or Captain Kirk, as I may well now be calling him. So 10,000 AED, 4,169 Australian dollars. And 50,000 AED, the top spot in the team competition in Category 1, 20,847 Australian dollars as of the exchange rate right now on Emma's Exchange.
There you go. So let's see if Captain Kirk is going to be able to exchange AED for Australian dollars, or maybe it may be for star credits. We will see. He is the rider who yet again takes the top of the standings, but challenged a lot closer this time. Mr. X100 again kicking through this sprint, again pushing on and carrying that effort forward. And this is throwing a real spanner in the works to those teams who maybe had a game plan out there in Category 1, because Mr. X100 is pushing through and putting that effort in. You can see that reflected on your screens at the moment by that. Ben Kirk of the Level Racing Revolution, he's going out for that sprint win. There's no way he doesn't want that green jersey. That is definitely his target for today. It will match the green skin suit of that of Mr. X100. The difference will be Mr. X100 will have a number 1 on his back because he's a Category 1 rider. He's in the very top category of riders here, and he's showing why. going off the front. 6 seconds gap to Van Elst, 8 seconds to Panizza, Knudsen and co.
Well, he's just kept going, has X100 following that sprint. Van Elst was chasing, but he's backed off the pace a little bit now because there's no help coming from the pack. So X100 continuing to push, and well, he is now 8 seconds clear of the chase. That is being led by Van Elst on the right-hand side of your screen, but look at the difference in speed. X100 at 44 kilometers an hour, Van Elst at 39.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the gap is going, but now Noren coming up and closing the gap to Van Elst. Are they going to try and reel X100 back in, or are they just ensuring that a consistent pace stays on from that Category 1 pack behind?
I think they don't want to let that gap go too far. They know the danger of letting Mr. X100 go clear. Michael Knudsen, we saw very quickly come up. He saw Noren go to the front. He knows the danger that Noren is. He went up, he covered the move. The moment he was on the wheels, he backed right off the pace. And this is allowing Mr. X100 to continue to push. That gap has now gone to 11 seconds. It's not that long ago we were talking about 6 seconds. It's now, in fact, 13 seconds. It is extending out with every pedal stroke at the moment. And this means that Mr. X100 is going to get a run into the climb. Now, he is at 14.5 kilometers. At 16.5 kilometers, only 2K down the road and less than 2K now, he is going to hit the climb. He's going to hit that steep, jagged profile, and he is going to be making his way up that climb. The end of this course from 16.5 kilometers in is pretty much without respite because, well, you might not always be going up. When you are going down, the gradient changes regularly. You've got to get yourself into the right position. You've got to have the right revs and power, and you've got to be actually on the ball all the way, because if you back off, you're going to get caught out. Mr. X100 is going to get some sliding room going into that climb. Does this climb suit him? I would say not necessarily, but does that mean he can't make it count? Absolutely not. He can make this count, and this is one of the great ways of doing
and
that.
Strategically, he's doing the right thing. He's doing the right thing for himself and his team. He's giving himself some slip room. We know X100 is much stronger on the consistent long climbs, and that's where he really shines. This is not a consistent long climb. This is a jagged, steep climb that kicks and drops, has flats, and then kicks again. It is going to suit some of our other riders more than it suits X100, but he is being clever, he is being smart, and he is giving himself and his team the best opportunity of scoring big points today on the Sunday Race Club. Well, one of the riders at the moment in trouble in Category 2 is Betty. So Ricardo Betty at the moment needing to push on 22 seconds back from Castamere, who is further back down the road than Spratt and Mandakowicz. But if you remember rightly, we had those 3 riders clear in Category 2, Spratt, Mandakowicz and Mare, but Spratt and Mandakowicz have pushed on the climb and have broken Castamere, who is 10 seconds back. Betty is in 4th place on the road at the moment. That Category 2 race field is in smithereens.
It is indeed in smithereens. Great word. That is a great word to look up in history. I wonder whether we'll see that on the MyWhoosh social media explanation of terms. Now, Category 4 going up over the top of the very first climb. The polka dot skin suit going to Lescano. He is the rider who wears that. He's resplendent in the polka dot. You can see Ola Warren alongside him, resplendent in the green skin suit on the sprint. So the climb leader in those red dots on that white skin suit with the sprint leader, all in Category 4, all over the top, the front of the race. Now descending down from the top of the Heritage climb. It's an 8-kilometer run to the next climb, which is the Canyon Oasis climb. As they go over the top, the leaders in Category 1 hit the base of the Heritage climb. I say the leaders, but there is a solo rider clear at the front. Mr. X100 has pushed clear. That gap is substantial at the moment. And remember, as we hit this climb, the watts are going to go up. Will he lift his watts? Will he try and stay clear? Is he going to sit at a pace behind? The riders know they need to make this count. The man who's having probably the best ride of all is going to be Mr. X100's teammate, Michael Knudsen, because he's just been covering the moves. He's not had to put the effort in to chase anything down, and that is giving him the best chance of running in to this climb with the best legs. However, It's a long way up here. It's a big climb. Christoph Kroll, he is absolutely flying. Again, another rider who we've seen improve. And it's not going to be long, is it, before we see him potentially taking a top spot?
No, I don't know why I said the word no, because I was going to say yes, I agree with you. Kroll is
Oh,
indeed getting better and stronger, part and parcel of that Belgian waffle squad, week in, week out, riding hard and increasing that performance. So Kroll currently sitting at 6 watts per kilo, part and parcel of the pack going up the mountain behind X100. He's just gone round this bend and is out of sight of these riders at the moment. But in this mix is Tolbert, Nair, Popovic, Jacobs, Bjorklund, Ospina, Panizza. They are all in the mix. Holweiler, the rider who attacked early on in this category 1 race, part and parcel of this pack as well, as they all move up the early slopes. Well, I say early slopes, they are nearly a kilometre into this climb, and this chase group still all together.
So the chasing group on the move. Lionel Vijassin going to lead the chase on to the next section. The lead is down to single-digit seconds at the moment. Vijassin out the saddle kicking on. You can see him focused. He doesn't want to lose ground within this group too much. He came in first onto the climb. That's not always a good thing, because the riders behind can be carrying a bit more momentum, a little bit more draft, and they can mob you, swamp you, and go over the top. And that's what we're just seeing a little bit in effect at the moment in Category 1. In Category 3, we're seeing Nick Scolari. He's up and over the top. He pulls on literally in front of our eyes the polka dot skin suit of the fastest climb, the fastest ascent. He has got a gap on Ace Goodall, Oviedo and Co. Here they come. They're under that banner.
They are indeed, and Squilari has no mob of crows attacking him at the moment. He is clear, 22 seconds clear of East and Goodall, the two riders changing him. Oviedo is there as well, and look at the work being done by Squilari. He's on the top of our screen on the left-hand side, but Peter Connell is digging in deep as well. So is Henry East. In fact, East's cadence at the moment, phenomenal effort going in there, but all three of those riders just showing you the effort that goes in, not just to the uphill sections, but also the down.
Well, the Aotearoa Alliance, the New Zealand team, are making their way up and over the top. Will they be able to pull out something here today? They're going to get themselves onto the podium. They have got riders to chase at the moment. They've got to work hard to pull the front back behind them. We're in with Spratt here. He is on this climb and he's looking good at the moment. Now, a quick reminder, as we've summarised before, Spratt, Mendakowicz and Mayer were the riders who went clear initially. They opened the gap. Mayer got distanced by the group. That was a 10-second gap between Spratt and Mayer. Spratt is continuing to push. Mendakowicz is continuing to mark, but Mayer is continuing to be distanced. He's now at over 30 seconds back, and it is in that minute marker region for the riders behind. Now, the time gaps are going to go up and down because these are live time splits based on a computation between speed and distance covered. And as the riders go up and down this very variable gradient climb, that means that the speeds will change very quickly. It means that the time gaps will change. Trying to average that out, though, whichever way you work out the stats, the two leaders at the moment are handing it out in spades.
Well, they are at the moment, but I tell you something, Betty and Quinston from the Wattage Wizards are working really well at the moment in Category 2, trying to claw some of those seconds back, because Spratt, he's on the Hitmen squad, and Mendakowicz is on the Wattage Warlocks. And I said the Wizards were going to be up the front, and now they're really trying to prove it.
They certainly are. They're absolutely motoring here. So great racing on this new Alula world. Alula, one of our very original worlds. In fact, if you go back to the original Arabia, there were some really tough climbs with the Talmarib dunes in there, the Jebel Hafit. I think this climb matches that when you look back in the dim and distant history of MyWhoosh and the Sunday Race Club. We've been going for quite a while now. In fact, we've been bringing you the shows for quite a while as well. And it's going to be good, I think, maybe to take a little bit of a look back. Let's see how way back when, in the dim and distant past, MyWhoosh was brought to you and the start of streaming.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. متابعينا ومشاهدينا الكرام في كل مكان، أسعد الله أوقاتكم بكل خير.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Fura is desperately trying to catch her before the line. Hits the line now.
Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, Matthew. We've got 6 Category 4 climbs today. Category 4 is a new category for us this month. We are moving from 3 race categories.
Points make prizes, and prizes are big. Right, she's starting to break this clear, and boy, I tell you something, Coiston and Bates going off as a group of 2. That is a dangerous move.
Wow, the effort going in, the what's going down, the gradient just coming off at the moment. It's a big group of Category 2 riders.
كانتسون فريق الإماراتي وإيكلان تيم مع لوكا زاناسكا وكانتسون.
Well, great to look back there, and great to see some of our riders riding now who were riding back then. I've got to say, great to see Abdullah in there. Starting off, he's been here even longer than I have, and it feels like quite a long time. Our Arabic colleague, along with Robber. Good to have Ant McCrossan, a man who spends a lot of time in the UAE on the stage for the UAE tours, with us as well. And of course, Emma is across the studio from me now. Some interesting racing, some interesting look backs there, Emma.
It was great to look back, and actually I keep looking at that thinking, my goodness, look how far the production and the show has come in that time frame. What is the future going to bring?
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping that the team that you don't hear and you don't see have got all the answers to that, because they are the brains behind the words that come out here and the images that you see. You've got to say a massive, massive thank you to the team at MyWhoosh that are bringing us all of the great updates and the great action in terms of the game itself, particularly with the launch of MyWhoosh Go and the link. And of course, the team in the broadcasting, the streaming, who put the action together, who have the unenviable job of watching 4 simultaneous races, picking all of the action from that, and the camera angles, and the time gaps, and the graphics, combining it so that we can put words on top of it. So a big, big thank you to them. Thank you for watching. If you've watched so far, please do share it out there. We want to continue this journey onwards with you and with your friends, with your cycling friends. We'd love you to be on board your bike and join us on the Sunday Race Club. And if you're not on board the bike, please do subscribe and watch. It's been great so far. Great plans for the future. One of those plans, of course, is the addition. We're going to have some French commentary joining us. James Ova, a man who I've had the pleasure of seeing, hearing behind the scenes as well in some of the classics this season, will be with us doing the French commentary. That should be starting with our qualifiers next week. Now, enough about the future. Let's get back to the present, and it looks painful.
It does indeed. And at the moment, 7 riders going clear in this Category 1 race. And talk about return of the Mac, return of the Michael is what is happening at the moment, because Knudsen is the rider pulling this group up the mountain. Vuyasin, Safrazadi, Noren, Jacobs, Kaminsky, all in the mix. David Talbot now 3 seconds back off this group. X100 just coming up and over him because he's dropping back, and X100 doesn't want to. His teammate Knudsen leading the charge. Well, the next group of riders they're going to see up this mountain are some of the Category 2 back markers. But, well, Munoz Giraldo is going to see how far he can go without being overtaken by this pack, and spurred on and motivated just to dig in a little deeper. We can see him on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. The concentration getting up and out the saddle and trying to dig in and go with the Category 1 pack, who are coming past fast.
They're coming past fast, and that's a bit difficult. It's a bit like trying to jump on a fast-moving high-speed train as it comes through the platform without stopping, because these are the best riders that we have out there, and they are on this big climb coming up towards the summit. It's not going to be too long before they get there. Remember, this climb tops out at 22.1 kilometers, so we're about 900 meters off the summit at the moment. It's a tough part of the climb, this. It always has been actually in Alula. It hasn't really changed, even though it's now a lot nicer to look at. It's not necessarily any nicer to ride, and it definitely gets faster, it gets quicker, and it gets really into gear as the guys go up it now. Mr. X100, we saw him on the front. We saw him opening a gap at the front. He pushed on. He's continuing to kick, and this is one of the good techniques that you see coming out. Pushing your way in and through, no matter what the grade is, keeping those revs, keeping the power, and really working. You can see he doesn't want to let the tail of this chain go. He knows that if he can stay in contention now and get with this group before it drops down and away, he could well be with them when they hit the Canyon Oasis climb, which is a much shorter climb and much closer to the finish.
Well, the Category 1 group are dropping like flies. They went in with a large group at the bottom of this climb. The group led away with 8 riders in it, then 7 riders in it, now 6 riders in it, and we're starting to see it fracture again as the gradient continues to kick just around 6% at the moment. They're going to come up to a false flat and a summit point. They're going to drop and then kick to the final top section and the polka dot banner on this climb. They're at 21.7 kilometers now into this 45 kilometer climb, and it's Jacobs now having to do the digging. Jacobs and X100, they're going to need side by side to push now up this climb, because Jacobs, part and parcel of that Coalition Alpha Jaw squad, is going to want to secure a good strong place, and every second will count towards that team competition. So it's the UAE clan team and the Coalition Alpha Jaw squad along with Sweet Potatoes. They are all in the mix at the moment.
So let's see how that's going to play out. We're heading in towards the summit. That's the polka dot banner up at the top of the climb segment. Remember, those climb segments give us a snapshot in. And although there are no prizes, no prize money for being over there with the fastest time, the riders know that if they're going to be in it to win it at the end of the race, they need to be there or thereabouts on the climbs. But they have to match the climbing prowess of Michael Nussler, the UAE clan team, the fastest rider up. He was 0.130 of a second quicker up that climb than Lionel Vujasin. And the top 5 riders, Kaminsky, Noren, Safasedi, Vujasin, and Knudsen, in through within 1 second of each other. Behind, Jacobs, Jones, Plantra, and Van Els going up there. Mr. X100 will be a little bit further down because he had a lead going in and he went over the top with Jacobs. This, I think, is going to become a group of 4 here with Mr. X100, Ollie Jones. We're going to see Stefan Van Elsten, Arnie Jacobs. In fact, it could be bigger because I think there's some Category 2 riders that could jump in here as well. And all the groups can draft each other. And that means if you can get a few riders together, this is where it's going to count.
Well, for me, Matt, looking at these results, there's about 11 riders in this Category 1 race that could come back together. Depending upon how hard they work and how hard those riders off the front work, there's about 20-something seconds separating those 11 riders, and the riders at the very front of this race are going to have to continue to work and work hard on the descent here to stay clear. Now, it is a very technical descent. It's not just a smooth transition downhill. There's some very steep downhill sections, there are some uphill sections, and there are some flat sections. You really have to be on the ball, and if you want to close the gaps down, it is possible.
It is possible. Is it probable?
Well, Safrazadi, Vujasin, Knudsen and Noren are the 4 riders clear at the front of this race at the moment. Kaminsky is chasing.
He is chasing. I expect Kaminsky to get back on. We know Mikhail Kaminsky, really, really strong rider, but he's up against riders who could take the win here today. As good he, and I think that little bit of a gap that they've got is going to be exaggerated by this roller coaster. It makes it more difficult to get on. It's not just one sustained, constant effort to get across. That is where our Category 1 leaders are. Our Category 3 leader at the moment looks like it's David Goodall, up to 16th position overall. He has got a gap back. It's only in single digits at the moment, 6 seconds to Peter Connell and Co, who are in that bunch that have just come around the corner behind him. Goodall at the moment, though, he's at 32 kilometres and he's crested the top of the canyon climb.
This is interesting tactics here, Matt, because Goodall, Squilari and Connell are all on the same team. In fact, going over the top of the Heritage Climb, the Otero, I can't even say it at the moment, the Otero Alliance squad, I have to say that
Oteroa.
I have to say that quite steadily.
Oteroa.
The Oteroa Alliance squad had 5 riders in the top 10 times up the Heritage Climb.
That's a bit of a tongue twister first
time.
It is,
which is why I was just saying that very slowly.
More coffee and more ice cream. There you are. Tip from a commentator who's been around for far too long. Ice cream and coffee, whether you're riding like Mark Dadson is doing. Save the ice cream for the finishing line, though. Take the coffee before you start, because clearly, I think if he is doing it, he's working for Mark Dadson. He has got Tim Connell behind him. Then it's Daniel Valencia right in there. Now, Valencia has got a massive, massive sprint on him. So is Luke Allport, who's also in the mix. The Category 4 race lead at the moment is a group of riders who have got incredible sprint finishes, and that is dangerous because remember that the finish of the final climb, the Nabatean Cave climb, that finishes at 43.8k, and that leaves us a run of 1.2k to the finish, which is not a big climb, and that is going to change how that climb is played out, I suspect, when we get there. It's a fair way, though, for Category 1 to get there, because they are still on this massive descent on the way down. Saeed Safrazedi, we've got Michael Nussen and Lionel Vajassin at the front. Noren now starting to lose contact. This was 5. It went to 4. Johan Noren really needs to move on this descent. We know he can climb, but he needs to descend now, and he needs to get back because they will not take prisoners here.
No, they won't at all. And Safrazedi, Nussen and Vyasin, that is a lead squad of 3. Noren 5 seconds back now. Kaminsky even further back because he was the next rider on the road the last time we were seeing him. But I think he's got company from my quick glance at the left-hand shot. Well, on the right-hand side of your screen at 32.1 kilometres into the race. It is Young here we are in with at the moment. Currently sat in 45th overall. You can see David Young working his way. And this is a flat section of road at the moment, but on the bottom left of the screen, you can see where he sits on the road and the numbers of groups and the riders around him. So an interesting mix for Young as he continues to work his way. They are joined by another Category 3 rider, and they're going to continue to work their way through the Category 4 race field.
Yeah, Yeda Estevan Perez, the rider in there with him. They have riders to chase down in front. Riders in Category 2 are well on the way down at the moment, and the riders with no other riders in the same category in front of them are Mestakowicz and Spratt. They are still clear of a chasing group, but they are in a minority because they are 2 riders up against a group of chasers. Peter Milostic in there. You've got Betty, you've got Graves, Walter in there, Krasnich in there. It might be nearly half a minute, but I'll tell you something, that will disappear very, very quickly if, and it is a big if, the chasing group get it together. If they act like a bunch of spoilt school children and squabble their way down that descent, they are not going to get there. They have got to push all the way into this climb. This next climb that Category 2 are about to hit is not easy. It is a steep kicker up the Canyon Oasis climb. That is tough stuff. Get over that. You're then going to be into the terrain where we see the riders here in Category 4. They're further down the road, 36k. They're on that run in towards the last proper climb, the last big climb. But this rundown, it's not simple. Dadson out the saddle here, sprinting his way up over this little riser at the moment. He's absolutely smashing out the watts, over 700 watts, nearly 800 watts there, coming from Mark Dadson over the top.
Well, at some point, someone's going to want to break this group because there's 7 riders in this group at the moment, and 7 riders across 1, 2, 3, 4 teams at least as they continue to push. We've got a rider, we've got Pinot from the Level Avengers, we've got Allport from Level Up Racing, we've got Connell and Winfield from the Mighty Ducks, we've got Dadson pushing on from the Anzacs. These riders continue to push, they continue to work, and they continue to try to win this race, whether it's Dadson or Winfield, Connell or Valencia at the front. Pinot, Allport and Warren are going to have something to say about it. Who can break this group?
I'm going to make a prediction here. Here we go. Bold prediction from that time moment. Which means it's probably wrong. However, I think as we come into this climb, this is a big group of riders. We are going to see this come down to 2 or 3 riders on the Nabatean Cave climb. That is the last climb, big climb of the day. Further back down the road, though, you can see the Canyon Oasis climb. This is the penultimate climb. This is where the riders in Category 2 are at the moment. The gradient is kicking up, and Quintero out of the saddle. That MyWhoosh jersey reflecting the sunlight coming streaming in onto the balcony where he's on that bike on MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club, and he's out the front of that chasing group at the moment. He's putting the pressure on. He's got 13 seconds to make up. He needs to sprint across before the summit. If you're going to do this, now is the time to push, but you've got to make contact.
You do indeed, and Quintero is having to work hard, but having to work hard very shortly is this Category 1 leading group, because they are about to come onto the Canyon Oasis climb. This is short, this is steep, and this kicks. Will we see these riders together? Now, interesting here, we have X100, Noren, Jacobs, Plantero and Jones with Kaminsky. That's 6 riders. This is the chasing group on the road. We have riders down the road ahead of them. So 6 riders versus, I think, it's 3. It's Vuyasin, it's Safrazadi, and...
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Knudsen!
There you go. You win the ice cream. Emma spotted it first. So we're going to see it go down. Interesting move by Justin, getting across, bridging over. Knudsen goes up the road there. That is a very dangerous group. Michael Knudsen, Lionel Justin, along with Said Safrazadi, they are the group who are in here. This group, you can see that shuffling on the descent. It is key. Now we say you make races on the climbs, but you can make a lot of action. You can be very, very strong on a downhill, and you can really change the mix coming in. Now, they are on the Canyon Oasis climb. This is a super short climb. Can't describe to you how short it is. It's a 1.6K, my kind of climb. Super short, only about a mile long. It climbs 74 meters of ascent. It is a very fast, quick kick. Putting a punchy kick here, you can break clear. You can do a lot of damage. You're seeing that in the red on the chevrons on the top left-hand side of your screen as these riders go up here. However, go too deep, and that is a temptation on a power climb where you're sprinting. You're going to be in trouble, particularly as what comes after it is a long flat, then another rise up to the cliff sprint, and then a long drop down in towards the Nabatean Cave climb. You'll know when we get there, we're in a cave. It's the Nabatean Cave, in fact, and it climbs, and it goes up a lot. We're going to be there very shortly, or will we? Because at the moment, Knudsen, Vujasin, and Safrazadi, they're holding a pace. We know these guys can sprint at in excess of double digits. I mean, we're talking 10, 12, 13 watts per kilo comfortably coming out of these guys in a sprint, in a big kick. At the moment, they're climbing hard. Safrazadi hitting 9.2 there to respond to the move from Knudsen. But it's Knudsen, Vujasin, and Safrazadi at the moment. Vujasin from the Alpha Jaw squad. You have got Knudsen from the UAE clan team and Safrazadi from the Sweet Potatoes, one of each on the way through at the moment. Well, I'm not sure from the big choice of teams. They would have been my three to be in the front if I was guessing. But you know what? You can't argue with the quality of any one of these three riders. And it really is mixing up this team competition.
Well, Safrazadi, Yassin and Knudsen are taking the guesswork out of this Category 1 race at the moment. The riders are pushing on here, and the rider pushing on the climb is indeed Kaminsky. He has got 11 seconds now on the chase group behind, and he went into the bottom of that climb, Matt, with that chase group. So 11 seconds over that climb. Phenomenal effort from Kaminsky.
I think Kaminsky was trying to bridge across to the leaders, and he didn't achieve it because of the pace going in from the leaders. So that may well be another one of his chances gone. You can see that
Look
as he
at
went
that.
there. I mean, he was 3 seconds off their pace up there. And if he was going to bridge across, he needed to be going quicker up that climb. It didn't happen. He didn't get there. Safrazadi, Vajasin, Knudsen climbing well. They are the three strongest riders on the course at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. Kaminsky's looking good, but has one of the riders behind got something left in the tank? Remember, this is a 45-kilometre race. The end of that climb came at 31.7k, and the leaders now in the descent on the far side. This, though, is a really weird part of the course, because they're going to be moving the way in and through. And I think probably the best way to describe this, well, they say a picture tells 1,000 words, and maybe that's what we need here for the course profile, to show us exactly what our riders have got in front of them, because this is so difficult, the terrain. Let's have a look. Let's check out what's coming up for the riders. So, Emma, here in Alula, we're away from the Elephant Rock. We've seen the sights to be seen. We've seen red as we've gone up the big climb. We've descended down. We've gone over our penultimate climb. We're now between the Canyon Oasis and the Cliff Sprint, in this real no man's land between the last two climbs. It's not easy. It's not a great bit of road to be riding, to be brutally honest.
Well, it's definitely not a transition section where you can turn the switch of your brain off. You really do need to keep the concentration around you. And the opportunity to bridge small gaps is definitely there, as we see flat sections, short climbs, descents. It is a constantly changing gradient during that part of the course. And it is not a tuck yourself into the pack and just do a transition section.
And we can see there from the Cliff Sprint, there is a descent, and then there's a very sharp move into a steep section of climb. That is difficult to get the pacing right, isn't it? It's very easy, I think, if you're suffering, to not get that right.
Yeah, it is. And you, like I said, you really do have to keep your brain switched on. Your legs are tired. You are tired and coming towards the end of the race, and you really need to keep your wits about you and really think about what you're doing, because it's not just the individual competition today. It is also the team competition, and everything is to play for. And well, Dadson is doing the business at the moment in Category 4. Last time we were with them, there were 7 riders in the mix. Dadson pushing on. He's on this last climb of the day. It's steep. This bridge is so steep, and Dadson is the rider to take it to the 4. Valencia in 2, Winfield in 3, Connell in 4, Pino in 5. And apologies, Matteo, I picked the wrong Pino from the pack. Pino Matteo is the one in the mix. Luke Allport and Warren, those were the 7 riders. 3 of them, Allport, Pino and Warren, from the Level Up Racing squad.
Well, let's see if Emma is going to get Category 3 as right or as wrong. She's good at picking Pinot, but I think it's more Pinot Grigio than it is going to be our Pinot riders on the squads. Right-hand side, there are leaders in Category 4. Left-hand side, and coming onto your big screen, David Goodall, along with Nick Scolari and Peter Connell. They are the leaders in Category 3 at the moment. Their gap is substantial. Is it enough? We are heading in towards a subterranean world that climbs up the Nabatean cave climb. It really reminds me actually of our studio, because basically you're a long way underground here as you come in through the climb. Our riders have to ignore all around them and ascend this at pace. They're going to have to make this count, and you can see the road rising up. This is one of the things, is start into this climb. It's horrible. There's no other word for it. It's horrible. Look at the kick that comes in. It really rips your legs out.
It's steep, and it's a real kick. But interestingly, the gap that Squilari, Goodall and Connell have is on their teammate, Henry Yeast. So 4 riders on the same squad in the top 4 positions in Category 3. Well, in Category 1, it's still Knudsen, Safrazadi and Vujasin. They are 20 plus seconds ahead. Just having a quick look around here because interesting to see who is where.
It is a really interesting, such a mix. And we've got riders mixed in the group, the chasing group behind. Real interesting mix here. Ollie Jones, Mistakes 100, Arnie Jacobs, Michael Kaminsky in there. They are chasing Von Haren, who is in that gap between the chasers and the leading group. It looks like El Lamy of Category 2 is in with the leaders of Category 1 as well. So the group's really mixed up here as they make their way in through the desert. They're on that run in over the top of the cliff sprint, and once again, congratulations, Captain Kirk. You are the man in command. You're at the helm of all things sprint for the foreseeable future. You've boldly gone where no Kirk has gone before and taken the top spot. It's enough Star Trek references
it
for
is.
now.
So Level Racing's Ben Kirk takes top spot in the final sprint of the day, 22.829 seconds ahead of Ruben Dont from the Wattage Wizards in Category 2, Johan Norum from the Sweet Potatoes in Category 1. As we then roll down, our fastest Category 4 rider in 17th place.
Good going. That is good going indeed, but is it going to be enough? We'll see. Let's see how that plays out. You can always look back at all of the splits on the sprints, on the climbs. You can take a check out on mywhoosh.com/results. It'll tell you some of the information on how the race is run, but nothing beats watching the action live. At the moment, Emma, all of our race categories have been thrilling so far. Category 4, 3, 2, and 1. And they're all still spread out, which is not always the case at this stage in the racing.
Well, they are indeed, and it's all on for this team competition because Vujasin, Safrazadi and Knudsen, 3 different teams in that leading group. So Vujasin Coalition, Alfajor, side Safrazadi from the Sweet Potatoes, Michael Knudsen from the UAE clan team, and the chasing group of 5 riders contains teammates of all of them. So it is going to be so tight. Will it be Coalition Alfajor who pack it out? Because Jacobs, Kaminsky and Jones are all in the chasing group. X100 is also in the chasing group, and I'm trying to work out who the 5th rider is. We'll pick that up very shortly. But for now, Matt, this is the top 10 on the road, and Peter Connell and Nick Squilari from Category 3, along with David Goodall, have now worked their way through into the top 10 on the road after starting 5 minutes behind the Category 4 start.
So they have almost reached the end of the road. They've worked their way in through the orange side top 10, but a quick reminder, you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, the riders in blue, those blue discs, the Category 3 riders. The riders in red, they're the riders who are in Category 4, and we have our race leaders in Category 4 at the road. This, though, is the battle further down the slopes here on the Nabatean Cave Climb. You can just see as the riders go between the sheer rock walls either side of them that we are seeing big digs, big pushes. They are really working, and then they're easing back off. Goodall goes to over 5 watts per kilo. He comes back down to 4. You're just seeing them at the moment tapping this rhythm. They are putting in these probing moves at the moment. Nothing, though, is necessarily sticking. The people who are suffering are the riders in Category 4 who are trying to stay with them, and they are going to be in trouble. But
I'm not sure why anybody would want to attack Matt. They're all on the same squad.
Well, you still want that individual prize. And let's face it, come on. What is the biggest rival? Is it between you and somebody on another team? No, it's between you and your teammates every single time.
No,
you need
not.
to know who is going to be the best sprinter out of you. You want to know who's top dog in that team. It's really, really important.
I think the fact that they all work together and come across the line together, and they all 3 of them work together to put additional seconds into the group behind, is absolutely the key bit. Which one wins is immaterial as long as the team take the win.
Oh, you're so collegiate.
Stronger together.
You are indeed. That is very, very true. But there is a point at which that has to end because we have 5 separate individual prizes to pay out and 5 team prizes in each of our categories. Now, right hand side of your screen, you can see that we've got Daniel Valencia, David Winfield, Tim Connell in here. I tell you, the Connell family at the moment, we've got Tim Connell and we've got Pete Connell in here. They are both riding really, really well. They're both at their respective race fronts at the moment. And they're both leading, in fact, their categories at the moment, just as we see them on screen at the moment. Great to see them both working so well. Time is going to run out, though, for them to get the airtime because we are now into the last 700 metres for the Category 4 leaders. We've got in the polka dot skin suit, David Winfield. You've got in this group, Daniel Valencia on the front with the white helmet there. We've got Connell coming in over the top. You've got Mark Dadson sitting in behind here. You've got Luke Allport also in. This is about getting the timing right and going early enough, and it looks like we're seeing the wind-up come now. Here they go. They've got to come round this right-hand turn. Look out for that yellow banner of the race finish. Luke Allport hits out first, but Daniel Valencia, I've just seen 14 watts per kilo come from Valencia. He's got a monstrous kick. He's going over the top at the moment. Daniel Valencia, the Level Up Racing team, making a move. He has absolutely thrown it to them, but they're coming back at him. He cannot afford to fade here. Will he hold on? Daniel Valencia gets it by the skin of his teeth. He makes it through. Valencia from Allport, from Dasson, Pino and Winfield. That is going to be very, very interesting indeed. So Valencia, Allport, Dasson, Winfield, Pino, they are your top 5. Tim Connell coming in 6th place. That's your Category 4 race.
1.8 seconds separating the top 6 riders in the Category 4 race today. So, gosh, that was mighty fine. Well, the Mighty Ducks, David Winfield, finished in 4th, but it's Level Up Racing who take 1st spot, 2nd spot, and 5th spot. Ola Warren coming over the line for 7th place, also from the Level Up Racing squad. For me, that's 4 riders in the top 7. That's got to give them the team win.
Well, we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. All these results at the moment live. They will go unofficial, then be verified and become official after that. So we've seen the Category 4 winners come through. This is the run for the line in Category 3. Now, one thing that we need to bear in mind, 8 seconds behind, Ingaleri is on his way, heading towards our 3 leaders here. Have they got enough time? We're going to find out. Henry East is also coming up pace behind them as well in Category 3. But at the moment, Squilari, Goodall and Connell are your 3 leaders. And Goodall it is who's kicked down hard. 12.8 watts per kilo coming out of David Goodall. He who kicks first could well win here today. Has he got the pace? I think he's got the gap on Scolari. He's got the gap on Connell. He's going to open it up. He's going to take the win here today. David Goodall leads the squad through. The Outer Alliance squad taking top spot. You are going to see, though, I think a royal whitewash of the podium. They've done an amazing job coming through because Goodall has taken the top spot. You've got Squilari behind him. Connell coming in 3rd place. He's coming in 5th. Now I think it's going to be the Italian Espresso squad who follow them in.
It is indeed. So the Espressos kicking in to Ingaleri and Cusimano to take 5th and 6th spot overall in that Category 3 race. But it was absolute dominance in the top 4 spots for teammates Goodall, Squilari, Connell and Yeast.
Outer squad doing the business here. A real alliance of talent there. Now let's see what's going to happen behind. We have 41.6 now, 41.7k under the wheels of Saeed Safazedi trying to answer Lino Vujasin's push up this climb in the left-hand side screen. That's Category 1. In Category 2, there on the right-hand screen, you can see Nicholas Spratt and Maciek Mendekowitz, the riders, the 2 leaders in Category 2. They're a little bit further down the road at 42.7k. And Emma, Michael Knudsen is a little bit on the rivet here. He's really just having to squeeze as hard as he can. He will not want to be distanced here because this run to the line It's going to be interminable if you're off the back of the group.
Well, and it's a steep kick here. And you can see as they're coming up over the bridge, Safrazeli and Vuyasin are well matched at the front. But Knudsen is continuing to kick in. Safrazeli's just gone over the top and put in a massive dig because he wants to keep this gap going. But Knudsen continuing to hold his pace. His heart rate 193 at the moment. I know I've seen 201. So he's got a little bit of a range, has Knudsen, but he's going to want to hold that for the sprint. He's not going to want to go too deep into the red at the moment because he's still got 3 kilometers to go.
So 3K to go for the leaders in Category 1. It's less for the riders in Category 2. Spratt and Mendakowicz. This is mano a mano, to use a phrase from the great Hugh Porter, who I started off commentating with a long time ago. But it is such a true phrase. It is man against man at the front of the Category 2 men's race. Mendakowicz and Spratt fighting it out. They are throwing blows down at the moment. They've got the gap. They've got a little bit of sliding room to the group on the right-hand side of your screen, because in that group you've got Milostic, Kranich, Walter, Graves in there. You've got Koistonen in there as well. Ruben Don is in the mix, so is Betty. A huge group in Category 2. Now, from the top of this climb, in the run to the finish, it is 1,200 critical meters to the line. Emma, with the time gap that's in there, surely that is too big to be closed down in that distance between our 2 leaders and the chasers.
Well, I think you're probably right, Matt. At the moment, it's around 350 meters separation. And that is a huge ask in this run into the finish. So I think we are going to see the 2 riders on the left-hand side of the screen come in prior to the chasing group on the right-hand side of the screen. But let's just remember, 5 positions on the podium today, 2 riders clear. Well, that's a lot more than 3 riders in the chasing group.
Oh, indeed it is. And this is going to mean that the team competition is going to be incredibly tight as they make their way in to the finish. Don't forget, you can catch all of the results. It is mywhoosh.com/results. You can get that on the menu bar. You'll be able to see who has taken the fastest times up the Nabatean cave climb in each of our categories, where the riders were and how hard they were working. And of course, you'll be able to get those full results for the finals on there as well. Make sure whilst you're on there, you give MyWhoosh a follow on social media. It's MyWhoosh on Instagram and Facebook, and my_whoosh on X. And of course, don't forget, please do give us a follow as well. It's at Matt Fixer Paint and at biking_Emma.
Well, Mendakowicz and Spratt pushing on. It's Spratt taking the lead at the moment and continuing to dig in. This is a flat run at the moment, and they're wanting to keep the pace high, and the pace is high. It's currently sitting at 45 kilometers an hour as Mendakowicz comes back onto Spratt's wheel. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see Betty having kicked on and pushed, trying to push clear of the chase group, but Koistonen, Don, Graves and Milostic, the riders, continuing to close him down. So we've got 3 seconds separating the front to the back of the chasing group of 5, and we've got 2 riders out front.
Now, Spratt has been really working on the front. He's been working hard. Mendakowicz is the rider behind here at the moment. He's holding station behind. We saw them winding at about 3, then 4, then 5 watts per kilo. They're now up to 6 watts per kilo. Mendakowicz goes up to 7. Is he going to make his move? He does. He goes on the left-hand shoulder there. Mendakowicz now kicks at 10 watts per kilo as he comes in and past. Now, Spratt has got to answer this. Has Spratt got the answer? The gap is opening. Spratt digs into the red zone, but the line is coming fast. Mendakowicz is going to take this, surely. Messier Mendakowicz is going to take the win in Category 2 in the April finals on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. He does so ahead of Spratt. And now we go back to see who has got this. And Betty has pulled clear. Jose Ricardo Betty is going to be the man, surely, who's going to take 3rd place. But behind him, you've got Graves, you've got Koistonen, you've got Super Sprinter Don in there, as well as Milostic. Can Betty hold them off? I think he's done enough at this stage. The line is going to feel like it is such a long way away. They are coming behind and they are closing this gap down. Betty has got to use everything he's got left as Don starts to lead that chase behind him. Don is coming. Is Don going to come on our screens? He's not. Betty takes 2nd place. Great determination there from Josiah Betty to take 2nd. It's going to be Ruben Dodd in 3rd, I think, as they go over the line. That's in Category 2, and this is the lead in Category 1 as they came over the top of the climb. Lionel Vujasin, He put the thumb screws on. He broke Saeed Safrazadi. Safrazadi could not stay with him. Vujassin is the rider in the front with the white helmet. He's got Linda Milostic in behind him. But I think Vujassin's run for the line, he's the man in the skin suit here, is going to be enough to take the win. It's the April finals here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club in Category 1. Lionel Vujassin takes the win for the Coalition Alpha Jaw squad.
Well, Vujassin coming over the line. Safrazadi now just coming around the corner. He's going to take second in the men's race. The chase is on behind, and the rider they are chasing is Michael Knudsen because he's currently in third place. Podium finish for Knudsen. The question is who from the pack behind will take fourth and fifth?
Well, it's going to be a big kick in, I suspect. We've got Kaminsky at 9.5 watts per kilo at the moment. He will want to take that position. He needs to close that gap down. Vujassin, Safrazadi and Knudsen, 3 different teams there. Kaminsky, though, comes in and over the line for Coalition Alpha Jaw. They've got 2 in through the finish at the moment. They're going to need to add another one to that to give them their team time. Now, Johan Noren pushing hard here for Sweet Potatoes, teammate, of course, of Saeed Safrazadi. You've got Ollie Jones, though, in there from Coalition Alpha Jaw. They are going to make their way in through the line. They're chased all the way here by Mr. X100. That is a storming ride by the second of the UAE clan team riders. He goes in and through. He's going to be inside the top 10. Indeed, he goes through in 9th position.
Wow. So Vujassin in 1 hour, 7 minutes, 39 seconds. 9 seconds clear of Safrazadi from Sweet Potatoes. Knudsen in 2, Kaminsky in 3, Plantero in 4. Plantero in 5, sorry. Great ride from Mikel Plantero from the Pain Toasted Squad. Arnie Jacobs for first ride up. Coalition Alpha Jaw finishing in 6th. Ollie Jones finishing in 7th. Johan Noren in 8th. X100 in 9th, and those are our top riders so far through in Category 1. Mendakowicz from Spratt in Category 2. It's all going to be about that team competition, and well, I think Coalition Alpha Jaw are going to have that. It's going to be interesting to see the confirmed results. You need to head over to mywhoosh.com, click on results to find out.
Well, I hope you're going to be as fast over there as I am, because I want to see exactly what's happened in the racing. Don't forget, please do give me a follow at Matt Fixpain. You can, in fact, catch me on the UCI YouTube channel. I'm going to be bringing the BMX, the final round of the BMX is going to be coming up later on today. Great to be here, though, on the UCI's partner for 2024, 25 and 26. We're going to be bringing you the Esports World Championships here on MyWhoosh. A pleasure to be in the studio with Emma Martin here, and we will be back next week with the women's and men's race. If you can't wait that long, please do jump back in. Have a look back at some of the dim and distant history that you saw earlier on. Some fantastic racing. It continues onwards. Emma, what's been your highlight of the finals in the men's?
Oh, just how different the racing was in each category, and I loved the early attacking Cat 2.
Well, let's see if that's going to be repeated when we move on to May. We'll be back for qualifier number 1. Please do join us then. A massive thank you to the team behind the scenes. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the riders. But from Emma and myself, Matt Payne, stay safe. We'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.